गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम बैक टू पैसा बोलता है। पैसा बोलता है में फिर से आपका स्वागत है। आज मेरा भाई के साथ मैं हॉट टेक्स करूंगा, कल भी हॉट टेक्स होगा। हॉट टेक्स ये है कि हफ्ते में 2 बार हम न्यूज को पढ़ते हैं, पिंक पेपर्स पे जो न्यूज आते हैं उसको डिस्कस करते हैं। क्योंकि मेरा भाई हिंदी में बहुत फ्लुएंट नहीं है, वो इंग्लिश में पूछेगा, मैं अंग्रेजी में ही जवाब दूंगा। अगर मुझे इंटरेस्टिंग लगा तो हिंदी में जरूर अनुवाद करूंगा। तो हम जाएंगे हॉट टेक्स। आज क्या न्यूज है, पिछले 2-3 दिन में क्या न्यूज है, इसके बारे में से मुझे कुछ सवालात करेंगे। Hello, Vinod.
Yes, Anand, the first one. Finch raises India's midterm growth forecast to 6.2.
So, what is the point? I think Howard Marks said that there are 2 types of economic forecasters. Those who know that they do not know, and those who do not know that they do not know.
Yes.
Okay? A forecast, India's GDP itself comes with an idea of the top 2,000 companies. Right? They collect data from top 200 to 2,000 companies. And this question is sent to them and they reply back. And from there, there's a multiplier used for agriculture and the unorganized sector. The unorganized and the agriculture sector is about 70% of the Indian economy. So the government first round data which comes itself is revised upwards and downwards several times. By the time data is fully out, it's 2 years after the event has taken place. And that is the time when data from the unorganized sector comes in. And in this case, the government extrapolation is wrong because we are going through a K-shaped recovery, which I have said several times. Those who are richer are becoming richer and those who are becoming poorer are poorer. Even the so-called upper middle class is losing jobs. So there, whether the growth is 6%, 6.2% or 7%, it does not make any difference, except it grabs headlines. Also, the deflator last time was 0.2. If somebody wants me to believe that India's inflation was 0.2, I don't buy it. So there is not much store to be set by these numbers. Instant, we have to look at earnings and what is your risk profile at this point of time, whether you want to be defensive or whether you want to be aggressive.
Okay.
So if 0 is all cash and 100 is fully invested,
Yes.
where do you want to be first? That depends from person to person and depends on the situation.
True.
Then depending on the economic cycle, whether you are doing defensive investing or whether you are doing aggressive investing. These are the things that you should be looking at and not worry about what is the GDP of the country.
Very true. But these Finch rating guys, right? They also, like Tata Steel recently, they gave them a rating of BBB, and that helped Tata Steel in UK.
The most of the time, these whatever rating these guys give, the bond market interest is decided on that.
Okay. So that's where, as far as their role ends there.
Ends there.
Yeah.
They also know they have to give a slightly better rating because I will always go to the other guy.
Correct. Because there are only 3-4 rating companies.
Yes,
They all play against each other.
Yes. And if I don't get the bond payment, if I'm not able to raise bonds, then why will I come to you?
Very true.
It's a chicken and egg situation.
Very, very true.
Okay. There it ends.
Okay.
And the entire crisis of 2008 was caused by this failure of the rating companies to say that mortgage-backed securities had an element of risk in them.
No, they're actually worth trash.
Yeah.
They took trash and gave us some nice ratings.
Yes.
And made investors flock.
So that is the value you should put it to them.
True. Okay. The other news. Berkshire Hathaway earnings. Cash balance hits a record $157 billion as the firm stays disciplined. So
basically what uncle has done, he has done 2 things. He's kept his money in short-dated securities. He never goes 2 years, 3 years. The max he is in 1 year. Maybe he has a couple of billion in 2 years. What he was getting 1% and 0%, people are paying him 5% now. So if he has put $150 billion in treasury, I'm just giving you an example.
Just an example, yes.
So he is making $7.5 billion doing nothing. Now that's what we are looking at. The most important thing that you have to realize is he has not bought any stock. Now you buying a stock is different from him buying a stock because you can buy small quantities.
No one knows about it.
No one knows about it. The moment he tries to buy a stock, the entire
looks at something.
He even thinks about buying something, the whole world will come to know about it. So it's very difficult for him to buy very small companies at undervalued.
So it's more like people come to him and say, please
buy us.
Yes. Okay.
Like Allegheny and Occidental.
Or even famously Japan just now.
Or Japan now. And he just bought 9% of 5 of the largest Japanese companies. So he famously just bought 10 or 5 of the largest Japanese companies. He bought 9%. So even he is not willing to deploy his cash.
Correct.
So how should you be? You should be extremely careful. This is exactly why I am saying you buy Tiffin coffee.
Okay, next one is a juicy one for you, and I have to give it to you because we've been waiting for this for some time.
Yeah.
Adani Group is in talks to sell its entire 43% stake in Adani Wilmar.
See, Adani is in serious trouble.
Yes.
Its profits in some businesses have come down, and his profits in other businesses have gone because of coal trading and electricity. Both have been, which has been exposed by Financial Times, and they will not be able to roll over all their loans. They need fresh equity. He has been growing on a loan capital.
Yes.
He has been borrowing money.
Yes.
And he has been thoroughly exposed. So he has to bring down his debt.
Yes.
So he has to sell some family silver. The family silver was that he had to
Wilmar.
Adani Wilmar, because Wilmar is a consumer brand. It says Fortune Oil and Fortune other things. That is encashable immediately.
Oh, and buyers for it.
They are buyers for it. He has 43.7% of stake. Wilmar is a entity in Singapore. Whether Wilmar will buy that 43.5% or somebody will buy 43.5%, we do not know. But he needs the cash, and they are going to be providing the cash.
But this would have happened to him regardless of the Hindenburg fallout, no? Because of the interest rates going up.
One of the rate problems like what Vedanta is facing right now. Vedanta is in serious trouble because of interest rates. He's trying all sorts of gymnastics to come out of it, splitting the company into several parts and now going for a private loan and all that. It would have come later than sooner because the media wouldn't have overhyped that he is in trouble. So it would have been a couple of years down the line. And by then interest rates could have cooled off slightly. But definitely interest rates have made it difficult. And some of his interest rates, if you go dig through the balance sheet, are extremely high and nowhere near the rates at which we are talking about. So it's really going to be a problem.
So what about this, Anand? Arun Shourie was probably right on Jet Airways, Naresh Goyal.
That's not probably right. Everybody knew he was fully right. Jet Airways, first you have to understand what he was, a big travel agent in Gulf, selling air tickets. And he raised money and started Jet Airways. And a lot of companies went bankrupt at that time. East West, Damania, Kingfisher later, everything went bankrupt till he went bankrupt himself. He did not allow anybody with deep pockets to take over Air India. Nor start an airlines, because those days to start an airlines was a very difficult thing. And those days it was all coalition politics. Coalition politics meaning he asked famously a politician from Karnataka who is right now in JDS, who's left JDS, CM Ibrahim was the Union Civil Aviation Minister. He, in Devagowda's cabinet, he blocked Tata's getting a license. And there is famously in Lee Kuan Yew's papers, where Lee Kuan Yew said, you give Ratan a license for Air India, and we'll put up the capital, Tata Singapore Airlines would start. And Civil Aviation Minister after Civil Aviation Minister stalled that deal. Because if Air India had been sold to Tatas at that time, it would have been one of the best airlines in the world today.
True.
With Singapore Airlines, even then, Singapore Airlines is still backing it now.
And saved government a lot more money.
They would have saved the government a lot more money. But he was the Civil Aviation Committee chair in FICCI. And he himself had a large airline. So there was a conflict of interest. Similarly, right now, how in SEBI, you have Adani's Sambandhi relation as his daughter-in-law's father is sitting in the corporate governance committee, right? So India, it's very common. And they kept frustrating Ratan Tata till finally they couldn't say no. They allowed him to start AirAsia and Vistara. And finally, luckily, nobody could bid. No other corporate. Only maybe Mukesh could have done it. But he was into several things he didn't want to get in.
He wasn't interested.
And for their legacy, they bought it. So the guy who blocked Tatas for all these years and who didn't give who allowed Indigo to become such a big monopoly is of course Naresh Goyal. And Arun Shourie would know it best because he was the disinvestment minister for 5 years in Vajpayee's cabinet. We are not talking about him as a Congress. He was a BJP man. And he was the minister of disinvestment in Vajpayee's cabinet. So we are talking. It is not political. He was in the hot seat. He was the most successful guy to disinvest because he disinvested BSNL, Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited. He disinvested Balco. He disinvested a clutch of companies and he wanted to get rid of Air India at that time.
Correct.
And Naresh Goyal blocked it.
Byju's talks to sell US unit to Jofra Capital for $400 million. What is about that?
नमस्कार, फिर पैसा बोलता है में आपका स्वागत है। मैं आनंद श्रीनिवासन। हैदराबाद में इवेंट अच्छा हुआ, इसके लिए मैं आपका आभारी हूँ। मैंने दुबई की टीम ने आइडिया बनाया कि अगली बार गल्फ में एक और इवेंट होल्ड करेंगे। इस बार का इवेंट 24 नवंबर को आखिरी शुक्रवार नवंबर महीने में 5:30 या 6 बजे कुवैत में होगा। जो भी मुझे कुवैत में मिलना चाहे वो नीचे के डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में दिया गया मेल आईडी में अपना मेल भेजे या व्हाट्सएप में संपर्क करें। मेरी टीम उनको जरूर मदद करेगी। धन्यवाद, नमस्कार, जय हिंद।